Welcome, everybody, to the COS Shame Veterinary Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Andy Roark. Guys, I am here with the one and only Jamie Holmes. We've been digging through some old articles of mine. Boy, she was digging real deep at the bottom of the bag to pull out an article that I wrote back in 2017 called The 4 Gifts of Vet Medicine. This is an episode that came up, or an article that came up talking to my good friend, Dr. Sarah Boston, recently. And then Jamie also was around and kind of pulled it out for looking at. And anyway, it is a really, I hope it's a good discussion. I thought it was a good discussion. It is all about balancing giving happiness and stability in our careers. And what does that balance really look like? And then Jamie was asking if my thoughts on, are those really the three drivers? Have I changed my mind in the last 6 years? And so we talk about that a lot. So anyway, it's a really fun conversation. I hope you guys will enjoy it. Let's get into this episode.
This is your show. We're glad you're here. We want to help you in your veterinary career. Welcome to the Cone of Shame with Dr. Andy Roark.
Welcome back to the podcast, Jamie Holmes. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Andy?
I am really good. I always loved doing episodes of the podcast with you. I heard really nice things. The last time you got together, we did the choosing the rulers that we measure with.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of nice notes about that. And they were like, you should do more episodes with Jamie. And so I thought, you know what, I think that's probably true.
Oh, that's kind. I think that it's that I like to dig in and get a little deeper into your articles than you have the opportunity to do, because it's an article, it's not a book.
No, yeah, correct. It's it's funny. I have heard that people struggle to fill like 1,000 or 1,200 words, and I do not. I struggle not to write 5,000 words.
Yes. Yeah.
They're like, what is this? And I'm like, it's the article. And they're like, you're supposed to have the back page, Andy. Like not the whole article,
not the whole magazine.
Issue.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was looking back at the Wayback Machine. Are you ready?
The Wayback Machine.
The Wayback Machine. We're gonna go all the way back. I think it's 2015, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow, that's way back.
It is way back. But this is an article that I know both Sarah Boston and I really love that you did about sled dogs. Do you happen to remember this article?
I only remember it because Sarah Boston, she is a oncosurgeon, a veterinary oncosurgeon, and brilliant. She has a podcast called Co-Medicine, which is supposed to be like comedy and medicine squished together. And so she had me on. And she specifically asked me about it, and I was embarrassed because I was like, Sarah, I have very, very limited record. I remember an article. And so anyway, then I had to go look at it. So I have actually recently looked at it, but only because she caught me flat-footed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was, what is that, 7 years ago? So I think there's a little grace to be given there. It reminded me of the story of the Indian elder who was telling a child that who's having some trouble with emotional regulation. And they were like, how do I deal with this? And the wise man says, you have 2 wolves inside of you. And you have the anger and you have the goodness, and the one that you feed is the one that survives. And I have always thought with that, and you know me, I have that duality of mind where it's like, it's right or it's wrong. Like only one dog survives. We've only got one sled dog that's going to make it to the end of the Iditarod. And you have to choose which one it is.
How many dogs do you have right now, Jamie?
I have 2. And only one's going to make it.
Only one's going to make it. Okay. No, okay. All right, just checking.
Yeah.
Poor Biscuit.
Yeah. Poor Biscuit. She's being, I just got a puppy, and he's about 15 weeks old, and he very much wants to bite her on her ears, and she does not like her ears touched. And so the biting on the ears is not working out real great for her. She does not like it. And he's like, maybe if I try again in 5 minutes, it'll be okay. And we're like, no,
Oh yeah. Well,
she doesn't like
gotta
it.
keep checking in. Yeah. So
Persistent.
anyway, so okay, so two wolves. I do like it. It's the one that you feed.
Yeah, right. Well, yours is about the sled, which is life,
Right.
and the three dogs are giving, happiness, and
Three dogs.
stability. And
Yes.
I wanted to go back and first of all ask, do you still think that there are three sled dogs, or have you found any others? Because it's been 7 years and we've grown
Yeah.
and changed in vet med. So do you think there's more sled dogs now?
Oh, wow. That's such a good question. So I was funny. A lot of times I look back at articles to see where I was in my life and what was
Yeah.
going on, right? And so this was clearly a time and when I was seeing a lot and I was probably feeling a lot of just giving and not, you write the article or the book you need to read, whichever one.
Sure.
But I was seeing a lot of burnout. I think you can. The idea is that when I wrote this, there's three dogs. There's happiness, which is you taking care of yourself. And then there's stability, which is kind of financial security, right? It's you making a living, getting your needs met. And then there's giving, which is you doing for other people. And I think I was feeling at this time and I was seeing a lot around me of people who they just give and give and give and give. And I said in the article, the most common dog to get starved is personal happiness.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who they're like, I have to take care of my family and I have to take care of my team and I have to give to the world and that's all I have to do. And the big thing is, where are you in this? Like, this has got to work for you. And they're like, oh no, I'm sacrificing myself, my happiness. And so I think I saw a lot of that. I was sort of thinking about the dogs. I think it's a lot of it is like how much, I think if I could walk it back, if I wanted to sort of parse this apart now in my new sort of for where I am now, I think I would probably parse happiness into other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that there's giving, and I do think giving is important, and intentional giving matters. And I think I understand a lot of times when we see like commentary on social media or out in the world, it's reactionary commentary, right? Is people are like they're responding to anger or pain, and so when they say pet owners stop asking us to do these things or stop I don't know stop treating us like jerks.
Yes.
You think is that really the relationship you have? And he's like, no, they're responding to something. That's not.
Yeah.
If you really met them on a calm moment and asked them, they would have a much more robust response. But we're seeing this emotional reaction. And so anyway, I think for a lot of these things, when we start talking about giving or start talking about happiness or talking about stability, I think that we're leaning into this really kind of narrow view of what that is, or it's coming from a place of reaction. I think if I was going to parse them apart, I think happiness is kind of a loaded word, and I think that it's still that balance is key. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I would probably lean if I was gonna do new dogs now. I think interpersonal relationships would be. I think I'd probably parse the happiness into interpersonal relationships and I come out with how to say it, but basically what I need to recharge and or feel satisfied by.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that those are different things. And so I would say you should still be driven by giving, and you should make sure that your needs are being met. And at the same time, I really have become a big believer since 2015 or 2017 or whatever. I've definitely become a much bigger believer that our interpersonal relationships really matter, and I think that you kind of put family in there, and I think you put colleagues and friends in there. And do you know people? Are you taking care of those relationships, or are you head down, just doing work, paying the bills, things like that? And a lot of us, I think, are very lonely because we forget about those relationships. And the last part is, are you getting what you need out of this? Are your needs being met? So I think if I was going to do it differently, I'd probably split it into 4. I don't know. What do you think? Am I missing something here? It's hard to rethink it, but I'm glad you asked.
I really like what you said when you said intentional giving, because I think that that's something that we lose or we feel like we've lost. And you and I have talked a lot about agency in the past, but I feel like we in in vet med feel like we don't really have control over what we give or how we give it, right?
Yeah.
Like, because when someone says, hey, there's a C-section, can you stay? You often don't have an actual choice, like,
Yeah.
especially when morality gets involved in and we get stuck in that trap. And so we feel like we don't have an option. And that's one thing that I have some friends who work for an organization. And one of the things that they say repeatedly is, I get to do this. And
Yeah.
I love that because it reframes it, and it's an option of, I get to do this. And I think back to, I was a phlebotomist, and I worked at an organization. It was a tiny group called The Lab, and
Okay.
they were really small. And I got to do things like do blood draws on people in their car when it was inconvenient for them to come in. And I got to do things to help people be less afraid. And I worked with a lot of elderly and a lot of individuals who had a lot of needle phobia. And I got to do, I basically had free reign to do whatever I needed to do to make those people comfortable. And some of it was, white coat syndrome, like, don't come into the building, because into the building just is too scary. And the company was bought out by a large organization with a lot of rules, and we weren't allowed to do those things anymore. And it really put me in a mindset of these things that other people were like, what do you mean we do blood draws in the car? And then all of a sudden they were like, we got to do that, and now we don't get to do that. And so I think that that's an interesting way to look at it. And I think that you can use that intentionality with both stability and happiness. And I agree with you. I am not a big fan of the word happiness. If I had the choice of being happy for the rest of my life, I would not choose it. I want joy. Like, I want wonder. I want these things that, like, feel deeper and bigger. And I think that we have the capacity through vet med. We see some of the worst things, but we also get to see some of those, amazing miracles where an animal pulls through that you never thought was going to pull through, or a family, you get to see generations of a family come through with their pets. And I think we're definitely blessed in that way.
If you dream of doing team training with your team, getting your people together, getting them on the same page, talking about how you guys work together in your practice, I'd love to help you. You can check out drandyroark.com and check out the store. I have 2 different team training courses. These are courses for teams to do together to get on the same page and to talk about how you do things. I have my Angry Clients course, and I have my Exam Room Toolkit course, and they are both available and there. Check them out. All right, guys, let's get back into this episode. Well, there's a lot here to unpack. So I like your point about happiness. That word I still use it, but I don't like it very much. I think that we've kind of been sold a false bill of goods about happiness and what happiness is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I was talking to this veterinarian who's a really deep thinker and very smart, and she talked about going to counseling with her partner. And one of the things that she really struggled with is her partner's position that happiness is not important. And she's like, what do you mean happiness is not important? And he said, it's just not important for me. And she says, how can that be? And she said, what makes you feel good? And he says, meeting my obligations makes me feel satisfied. And that's enough for me. If I am meeting my obligations, then I am satisfied. And she just, she was like, this was a real sort of sticking point for a long time in trying to understand this person who was her partner. And she had to really work on it. And I got to tell you, I've thought a lot about this, and I do, I kind of get where a partner's coming from. I do. And then also I can 100% struggle and be like, what do you mean? meeting your obligations is enough. But I think that we all know someone who's like that, and they're like, "Yep, this is what I do. I meet my obligations, and that's enough." I don't think, I've told you this before, I don't think we're made to be happy. I really think that we are creatures molded by natural selection, and species that are content go extinct. I think we're made to be a little bit unhappy. I think our default state is unhappy because that's what makes us grow and explore and try new things and spread out and, and take action and hunt for food so we can, have a nice little chubby layer when the winter comes. I think if we ate a little berry and we were good for the day, I think we'd starve to death in the wintertime. Yeah. So we're made to be unhappy. And so if happiness is the goal, then I think that we're always feeling like we're failing because I don't think we're supposed to be happy. And so I thought a lot about that. I want to jump back to your I get to do this. It's like, I frame this up and I get to do this. And it's funny when you were talking about, you did this thing and you went out to the car and you did these things to sort of accommodate these people, and then that was taken away. I can't help but think about the open hospital concept, right? Where there's the pet owners can go wherever they want. And I know you've got experience with that. But I think for a lot of people, they're like, oh, that's terrifying. But I can also see that if you did it and you got comfortable with it, you would recognize, or you'd probably take pride in the fact that you say, yeah, we have people come back here and they get to see everything. I think I could see myself very quickly, as part of become my identity of going, yeah, we do everything in front of the pet owners. I think the only thing that scares me is like, what if I mess up? But I think I would be fine. I would be fine. Yeah. And it would take some time, and I would practice and get comfortable. And after a while, you get comfortable doing things sort of on display. And I know that that's true. Having not done it, I think it's still scary for me. But I think that I would come to love it. And then if I had to stop doing it, I would feel like it was taken away. I wrote this piece recently. I'm just curious. I'm not talking with you about this, but I'm curious what you think about it. I've been thinking a lot about sort of optimism and happiness and kind of what this really looks like given where I am in my life. And so, I'm in my late 40s at this point. I can see 50 from where I am.
Same.
My wife had breast cancer, a year ago, and and she's fine. Everything has gone well. But like that was a significant thing in my life, and I know you've seen and had things like that as well. And the whole choose happy. I still think that every day you get up, you can decide if you're going to be happy as a default or if you're going to be upset or angry or cynical or afraid as a default. I think you can decide what, I'm starting out at happy and I am going to try to hold on to happy. And that's a choice that I'm going to make. I don't think that's toxic. I don't think that's discounting of anything other than I'm going to try to do this. And so I do think that there is value in optimism. I like looking at the world with an optimistic view that things are going to get better. I suspect. I think wonderful things are going to happen. You said you like wonder and joy. Yeah. I think looking at the world and going, there's things out there that are amazing and wonderful, and I'm going to find them. And I can't wait to see where this day goes. I think that that's good. And at the same time, the world is a hard place. Yeah. And when you live through disease or pain for family members or people that you care about, you can't lie to yourself and be like, I'm just going to choose to be happy about everything. And I think that that's a paper shield. And I don't think it really works. And I don't think it's honest. And so, you look at, so I went looking for insight on happiness a long time ago. And I really do like some of the Buddhist ideas, and and it's a religion that's 5,000 years old. They got some things figured out, and the Buddhists say, and it's funny because I'll see people and they're kind of shocked because I have this reputation as Mr. Positive and the guy who loves vet medicine, and then I will stand in front of people and say things like, you know what, life is suffering. Yeah. Life is suffering and you should own that. Or I'll say, medicine is really just picking your poison over and over and over again. And they're like, this is the positive guy? This is the funny guy that was that we came to laugh with. And there was another one that I really like. It's there's a psychologist named Stutz is his name. He's got a documentary with Jonah Hill, but he said this thing that I have loved and picked up. But he's like, no one, and I mean no one, can escape uncertainty, pain, and constant hard work. Yep. And I'm like, that's awesome, because it's true, and it's just yep. Yeah. And the number of times I've been like, Andy, you're never going to be comfortable. You're always like you're never going to escape discomfort for any significant period of time. You're always going to be uncertain, and you're always going to have to work your tail off. And like that's if you just accept that, then you can go on. And so I think that clear-eyed, pragmatic look at the world and what it is and what it means to be human, I think that's also important. And so bringing this all the way back around, I have been thinking a lot about the balance in those two mindsets is, can you hold on to clear-eyed pragmatism? Nothing in this world is guaranteed except hard work, uncertainty, and discomfort. And I think tomorrow is going to be a good day, and I think that there are wonderful things that are happening, and there are people that I want to know better, and there's time to be joyful and opportunities for me to explore and do things that I'm excited about in the time that I have. And those things, I think to some people, they feel contradictory. Like you can't choose happy and believe life is suffering. And I would say, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Like it takes some balance and perspective, but there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think they contradict as much as a lot of other things I have to hold in my head to be a veterinarian.
True. Absolutely. I completely agree. I have often been pegged as being pessimistic, which I have wholeheartedly disagreed with most of my life. I'm like, I'm a realist. Like that's how I see myself.
Yeah, sure.
Because I don't think everything's going to turn out badly. I couldn't keep going if I thought that. Like I believe that things are going when things are hard, I believe that this too shall pass. Like it's gonna get better. And it's a season, and you don't have any idea how long your seasons, or your droughts, or your rains, or your amazing harvests. You don't have any idea how long they are going to be, and so you enjoy the things. And I was looking at, you shared with me some pictures, not very long ago, and in there
the nature photographs.
Yes, and in there there were ones that were pictures of natural disasters. And so one of them was a picture of this field that was just covered in snow. And it was so beautiful. And like the person who took that photograph was there in the middle of this terrible snowstorm and was like, you know what? That's gorgeous. And that's like gorgeous. And it's just like, it's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. What comes to my mind is, so I went with my family, and we went to Phoenix as a Christmas trip like a couple of years ago before the pandemic. So it's probably been 5-6 years now. And so we went there, and we were going to go up and go up to Monument Valley and look at all these, look at all the places and go to the Grand Canyon and everything. And we did. And it snowed on us. Like it just dumped snow. And I remember at one point being in this like lava field, and it looked like Mars. You know what I mean? Like there was nothing really growing in this area. It was just this weird rock and also this beautiful snow on top of it. And I took tons of pictures, and they do not do justice to what was there. I think that's what's amazing about incredible nature photography is the ability to actually come close to doing justice to something that's out in nature. Because I cannot do that with my iPhone. You know what I mean? I'm always very excited taking pictures, and then later on I'm like, this does not convey what was there. But anyway, but it is that mixture of beauty. I will also say that about you too, is you and I have known each other a long time. You were my first employee. You were one of my best friends. You are a realist. I would fight with anybody who says that you're a pessimist, because you are a realist in that. Well, you do, like the number of times that I have frantically pitched you an idea and like, Aunt Jamie, just walk with me. Look at what could be possible. And we could do this. And you have been like, all right, you know what? Let's go for it. Like, there's so many times that no one can say you're a pessimist because I have walked you into way too many adventures that you didn't have to go on.
That is very true.
But you are a realist as well, which is good, because a lot of times I'm like, we could do this. And you're like, I have questions, Andy. I have
many questions.
I have questions. I have so many questions about how this actually goes down. I think we're good for each other, but I would say you are not a pessimist. You are a realist who wants to be an optimist. That's what I get from you.
Yeah. I think
I'm an optimist who wants to be a realist. That's what I want.
Oh, yeah, I think that makes sense. Well, that's the balance, right? So that's how we find it. Okay, so I have one more question about this article.
Okay. I forgot about the article. Yeah,
right?
Let's talk about that.
Have you ever been on a sled? Like sled with dog? Oh my God, I want to do it so bad. So bad.
I have buddies. I have one friend in particular who somehow got involved with the Iditarod, like when we were in vet school, and he's just been doing it forever. And I'm like, I might as well go to Mars as to the Iditarod. I'm like, this is it's something like I can kind of get my head around it.
Yes.
But I have no idea what it would actually be. And I see the pictures and I watch videos and I'm like, I am so out of my depth here.
Well, I want to be real clear. I do not want to do the Iditarod. I want to go for like maybe a mile and then have a Starbucks. But I want to do it. I want to do it because I have heard it's amazing. And I love the feeling of flying. And I imagine that that's what it's like. And I love the excitement of the dogs.
I could get into that. I want to create a new sport called hover sled, and it's a sled, like it's like a hoverboard. And then dogs can pull it in Florida in like January, or we could I don't know, California. We could find an area that's 70 degrees Fahrenheit. 20 degrees Celsius, beautiful. And then they could pull the sled without the blistering cold that seems to be required right now.
Okay.
Like roller sled. Like we could just have basically I want to tie dogs to a shopping cart and ride around it. That's what I've decided.
I'm pretty sure that's already a sport, but I'm not sure if it involves dogs.
I think I'm going to investigate that. That's what I'm going to go
do. You go do that, and I'll just hang out with Allison. And
I'm coming for your two dogs because I only have bad dog skipper Roark, who I do not trust to pull my shopping cart alone.
Sure.
So I'll be over soon.
Okay, sounds good. I'll see you then, Andy. Bye.
See you soon. Thanks.
And that's it. That's what I got for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took something out of it. Thanks to Jamie for being here. Thanks to you guys for being here. Take care of yourselves, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.